So we need to do one more time.
1 second.
All right, maybe you need to stop and do it one more time. So good evening, everybody. We are going to start the session in another minute. And before we start, I would really request you, all of you, please forward a link and the posters around the circle. So probably that will help us to reach more people. And I'm sure this conversation is really going to help you to become, a powerful and extraordinary, entrepreneur who will make a difference in this, the people who you surrounded with or the people who you work with. So I would request you all, please forward the link and the posters and just put in a chat box, yes, it's done. So just help us to reach more people. Because Brainciti in the business of giving, and transforming people and creating and workability and productivity at work and at home, and the relationship and spirituality, wherever you take. Because every single day, that's what we do. We are bringing people from all around the world to bring and increase your productivity at whatever the space you are in. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining this wonderful evening. And I know that you could have been anywhere else, but you choose to be here. That means you really value your time and you choose to be here because you really be here. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. And today we have a great, wonderful speaker, and he is a very successful entrepreneur who made a difference in the community through giving. Now, Dr. Pramod Joshi is a managing partner at a Cornerstone International Group, and he also founder and CEO of Telesmith Consulting, and is been into business transformation and startup advisory, and has been into various, speaking engagement and keynote speaker and all of that. And he is a former senior director of Asia Pacific HCM strategy in Oracle. I've been got PhD from European Global School, Paris. And he also got a certified Marshall Goldsmith stakeholder from USA. Also, he has been a certified global coach from Global Coach Group USA. And also he got been to a board of director of various companies. And he's somebody who is passionate in speaking and adding value to people and organization. Currently, Pramod is a global C-suite professional with a, impactful blend of passion and purpose, and has been spearheaded leadership interventions resulting in augmented business growth and organizational effectiveness. So organizations like Microsoft, Oracle, JP Morgan, Cognizant, Citibank, HDFC, KPMG, Oman International Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, it's really, really a big bio to read out. Thank you so much, Dr. Pramod, for giving your time and your effectiveness to speaking into this wonderful community. So put your hands together, show your reaction button to welcome Dr. Pramod to enlighten us, and also just reminding us how do we effective at work, how do we effective at our business, how do we effective at our life, and it's going to talk about success, holistic approach about success. So over to you, Dr. Pramod. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Faisal, for that wonderful, great introduction of Brainciti in the first place. What an organization! Amazing spread of and repertoire of functions. And thank you for the kind words you spoke about me. Appreciate that. So first up, also a big thanks for giving me the platform to address. What kicks me about this session is I'm amidst some brilliant, at least as I see now, 36 people. They're all masters of their own game. And it's their humility that they're sitting here. Otherwise, they've got their own track record and done a great amount of job and achievements. So with that as a backdrop, can I start? So a few things before I actually deep dive into my presentation. Number one, I'm here out of sheer passion. Number two, my father used to always tell me, give back. I'm not an Ambani to give back a lot of money, but the thing you can give back is a lot of your experience, learned out of brutal failures, hard punches on the face, not physically, when you have downturns and tough situations. So there's a hell of a lot of learning out there. And so when you sort of put that all in a decent package and give back, it's immensely satisfactory. And that also counts for why for the last 25 years I've been also teaching as I work with all the organizations that Faisal read. I've been teaching at all the B schools, the IIMs and the IITs, and some universities abroad. It's just about just giving back to those people so that they learn from the failures that and success that we've all learned. Third thing is, yes, it's always great to earn the respect of intellectuals and an august audience like which is here. So thank you so very much. With that, Faisal, can I start the slide share?
Yes, sure. Good to go.
All right, great. Okay, can you all see my screen now?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. Okay. Oh, it's a little slow. Yeah, there you go. So, why I chose this topic of designing holistic success is because you could be that 5 crore, 10 crore, 100 crore guy, but if it's not rounded off well with you being an awesome human being, because end of the day, people are impressed by not what you are, by your degrees, but how you treat other people. And therefore, how do you sort of lace that amazing stupendous professional success with qualities of mind and heart? And that's what I'm going to touch upon, though I will touch upon a bit of entrepreneurship, and I'll open a lot of time for Q&A. I'm not going to read out everything on the slide, but that's my personal website, though I'm currently managing partner at Cornerstone. That's my email. And at Dr. underscore Pramod underscore S is my Twitter account. So please tweet as much as possible. Okay, with that, I'm also not going to spend a lot of time on this little introduction because Fez has already read out. The only thing I would like to tell is I'm indebted to these organizations like Oracle, JP Morgan, Citibank, HDFC, Cognizant, and OIB, where I learned immensely the rigor and discipline of professional excellence. And they gave me an opportunity and platform to add value and shape my own personality. Immensely, immensely grateful, beginning with Citibank, which was an amazing, amazing exposure. And with that, let's actually do a deep dive. So what I'm going to do in the next 45 minutes is I'll do a broad nuances of the pandemic. It's not gone out yet. Ask entrepreneurs, they'll tell you. I mean, the Hyatt Hotel next to Sahar Airport in Bombay has shut down. One of the most marquee, classy five-star hotels has shut down. So yes, there is an enthusiasm in the marketplace, but all is not well. So what and all this in the backdrop of digital era? Okay, what is holistic success? Let's really break it down. Let's deconstruct it. And why is it important? I'll talk about that. I'll also talk about how can we architect ubiquitous, impactful, and sustainable interventions to ensure transformational leadership. And lastly, we'll really talk about, is entrepreneurship all about designing destiny? And is that a way of life? So recently, Elon Musk was asked, hey, what is the top motivation you have for budding entrepreneurs? And guess what the response was? Oh, really? If somebody needs motivation, then he should be an entrepreneur. Wow, what a in the face response, which means if you need a stroke from outside, a positive stroke from outside, then entrepreneurship might just not be, you could be well off, be a middle level manager, right? Entrepreneurship is all self-driven, and we'll talk about that as a way of life. Okay, I would like to begin my pitch by saying the future belongs to those who know where they belong. Extremely important for a business executive, for a professor at a college, for a researcher, or for a Bollywood person, or in the field of art and poetry. You got to know where you belong, because then you're very centered approach that hits at the very core of holistic success. There's a famous term amongst the millennials called FOMO, fear of missing out. Fear of missing out is a practical demonstration of lack of centeredness and inner confidence, because we're always looking around and grouping around. Okay, so where do we belong? You know what? Before March 2020, all was well with the world. In came Corona, the COVID-19. The first objective for everybody, PhD or no PhD, corporate CEO or a farmer, was staying alive. Yes, there's also a famous Bee Gees song called Staying Alive. It was about staying alive, and you really, really can go to the next orbit if you are staying alive. Number two, unprecedented disruptions. Companies got swept away, swept away. I mean, a famous company like bookmyshow.com or Hyatt Hotel in Mumbai, I mean, Marquee Hotel, all shut down. Amazing disruptions. People's jobs were lost. And you all have read the stats, so I don't want to bore you with statistical data. Let's get to the more inner meaning. Third thing, intense degree of unpredictability. You go next morning to your office, or when you log in, you've just been laid off, or what they call job discontinued. Your product just got bought over, it got wiped out, and unbelievable disruptions. Look at the airlines, look at the hotels, all shut down. Pilots lost jobs. Somebody told me in New Zealand, a lot of pilots are now doing mail sorting jobs in their air offices. Sad, but true. They're saying this job is better than having no job. Most important, in the steel industry, there's a term called stress test. Ladies and gentlemen, pandemic was the biggest stress test of the complex kind and degree, which tested the mettle of each and every one of us. The huge geo-economic imbalance, realignments happen between countries, supply of medicines, non-supply of medicines, corporations, clicks, forms. I mean, it is unmitigated, right? And lastly, in our personal space, ladies and gentlemen, the psychosocial space got redefined. You could no more go across to somebody's house for a cup of tea. Even between parents and children, they have to take appointments because you do not want to transfer the disease, because you are dealing with an invisible enemy. And how hard is that? Absolutely disastrous. You know, they say the three things: you know what you know, two, you know what you don't know, and three, you don't know what you don't know. Oh boy, boy. COVID was you don't know what you don't know. With that space, your everything became, all your relations became online. Good, bad, we'll talk about it. Which led to this very often used word called VUCA. And ladies and gentlemen, that indeed is the new normal. We are living in a VUCA world, and there's been beaten to death this term with a lot of seminars, but the word is resilience to deal with VUCA. That's a new one. Your world is volatile, very uncertain, extremely complex. Even now they're talking of the Delta variant. Maybe there could be a third or a fourth variant. I mean, it's all ambiguous and it disrupted business models. How does an entrepreneur survive? How do you have holistic success? How do you even sit for meditation, which the earlier speaker spoke about, you know, when your two meals are at risk? So we'll talk about that. And amidst all this, check out this amazing data. This is world pie chart split by GDP as of 2019. Why am I showing this? This has got disrupted. A lot of countries were now wanting to step up from here and move on to the next 3, 4, 5% growth, right? I don't have the 2020-21 chart yet, but I bet all these numbers have gone down a little because the world business has gone for a toss. Amidst this unpredictability and ambiguity, what hope in hell do you have of predicting a measurable success holistically? Is there a way out? Is exactly what I'm here to discuss and share with you my learnings and my little thought leadership so that it could nudge you, it could motivate you, and it could give you the impetus. So those are the numbers, okay? Look at this. The world today is virtual. I mean, some of us even hired a building called WeWork, right? All corporates are closed. So quickly, as Faisal said, we needed to readapt, reskill. We need to completely reset our psychosocial system of operating from this is the little home office I've built in from where I'm speaking right now, build the acoustics and ensured that every bit of instructional business, etc., is carried out from here. There are no meets and there are no handshakes anymore. It's all virtual. Have you mastered the digital technology? Have you really understood what AI is? Have you understood what the payment system and mechanisms, how the Instagrams can help you with business? So it's a new mandate. And listen, you do not have to own everything. You can hire things. You can hire a building. You can hire a service. That leads me to state the first thing to you, tip to you is please understand access trumps ownership, which means you've got to be resourceful, especially an entrepreneur. You do not have to have resources. You need to be resourceful. There's a world of difference. So you don't have to have a car. You can buy an Uber. You don't have to have a fancy office. You can hire WeWork. Similarly, and you can hire a lot of skills, which has given birth to a concept called gig economy, the temporary stuff. There are temp CEOs and the temp CFOs in the world economy. They're just for 3, 4 months. So please remember, access trumps ownership, because if you get into ownership, you're dead meat because your costs go high. Okay. What is the world we are living in? What's your residential address, if I may ask? No, it's not flat number X, building number Y, city number Z. Your residential address is this. You and I live in this world of Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Pandemic, all the more, because your only meeting platform was Zoom calls, Microsoft Meet, and Google Meets, and what have you. Look at this meeting. There are people from all over the world in this, and we're all beautifully connected in mind and hearts. That's your residential address. Have we mastered the art in surviving in this world? Can you believe about a holistic success in this virtual world? Which gives me, and what is your virtual world? This is the world we live in. AI, big data, Internet of Things, robotics, data scientists, and so on and so forth. You all know this, right? Which leads me to a very interesting pie chart. Ladies and gentlemen, spare a minute for this. This, ladies and gentlemen, what happened in 2020 in 1 minute, which is this one, 60 seconds, right? Your 60 seconds is this. In 60 seconds, what happened? There are 4.1 million Google searches. There are 1.3 million Facebook logins, 19 million text sent, 4.7 million video tubes on YouTube, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to read all of them for paucity of time. Can you even begin to imagine the complexity of bombardment that's happening to you and the resourcefulness that you have? So it's both a challenge. It's like a double-edged knife. It could kill you. It could intimidate you by FOMO, fear of missing out, or you could actually leverage this. And on a funnier note, a bit of funny note here, who said in the world of technology and finance, there is no place for romance? Ladies and gentlemen, don't miss this here. In Tinder itself, there were 1.6 million swipes in 60 seconds. Don't ask me whether swipes are right swipes or left swipes. So even couples and dating survived and thrived despite, and that's the power of internet. In one internet minute, that's what happened in 60 seconds. How intimidating is that? And if you're not up to speed, you'll get absolutely swallowed. Very interesting chart, bringing in the digital world, especially for entrepreneurs. Look at the left part of the slide. Very systematic, very predictable. Blue boxes are in sequentially. There is what I call symmetry in this. It's called structured data. In the middle, just the shape of the boxes are changing. I mean, the size, the layers. It's very unpredictable, very uneven, right? Hues of colors, right? Whereas earlier you had structured data coming in from structured source. Here, the source of unstructured data is PDF documents, videos, Instagrams, live streaming, and whatever, right? This has taken huge dimensions. And therefore, single message in this slide is to the right side of your graph, to the other slide. Ladies and gentlemen, the volume of structured data as represented by the green part of the graph, look at it. The unstructured data has gone almost 3 or 4 times the green data. What does it say? Boy, if you are not ready to embrace speed, agility, data assimilation, quick decision making, you're dead meat, absolute dead meat. And therefore, I call it the volume, velocity, and variety of data. Welcome to the new world. I'm sure a lot of your children, a lot of youngsters who are attending this are wanting to become data scientists, because next slide says it all. Somebody said data is a new oil. I just added a little S into bracket and said, no, the data is the new soil on which you breathe. In fact, may I go on to say data actually is the new oxygen. But what do you do with data? So here's the thing. There's one thing about data. Check this out. If you torture data, my word is torture. If you torture data enough, it will indeed most probably tell you what you want to tell you. It's a very political game here. So when you see data manipulation in stock markets or emission engines or world climate records, yes, the downside to data is if you're able to torture it enough, it will tell you what you wanted to tell you. In other words, you can manipulate data. So while data is oxygen, etc., in today's context, with so much of frauds, e-frauds and the cyber fraud that are happening, which you read in the papers, it's all about data theft. Therefore, what do you need to do? I believe you need to balance left brain with the right brain. I'm touching on a bit of neuroplasticity here. Left brain is all about data, structure, logic, right? Symmetry, very analytical, very mathematics oriented. The right brain is about feelings, intuitions, emotions. Absolutely high on feelings, on heart. The left is the head, the right part is maybe connected to the heart, diagonally so, because the heart is the left part of the body. Today, ladies and gentlemen, may I submit to this very august audience, there is cognitive intelligence, which is about head. There is creative intelligence, which is about the heart. And I believe the successful guy today, holistic success, is about somebody who strikes a wonderful, wonderful balance between cognitive and creative intelligence, resulting in cosmic or quantum intelligence. That's the name of the game. Welcome to the big boys game. It's no more for the faint-hearted. Now, how easy is that? Oh boy, boy. People have committed not real suicide, but professional suicide trying to balance. They've lost it. It's like a meter, either it's skewed towards the right side, become extremely emotional, leaving it to God, fate, and astrologers and palmists, or they go completely data centric at the cost of human emotions. Therefore, today's organizations have become very dehumanized in a lot of companies where there is no place for emotions. So how do you balance it out? How do you do that? Is what I'm going to share my prescription. Okay, gave rise. This picture says it all, right? And this is all about artificial intelligence. The foundation of AI were reasoning, information processing, planning, and AI can literally reproduce all aspects of human intelligence. But the other is somebody who's joining. Pramod, you know what? There's a lot of artificial intelligence going on. Unfortunately, people have lost natural intelligence called common sense. Well, you do that at your own peril. And the picture to the closest to your screen is a guy of a robo. Don't be surprised if some of your reporting relationships are into robot. I will not name the company and the person. Recently, one of my mentees got a job, very fancy salary. He was nervous. I said, why are you nervous? He said, sir, I had 6 selection rounds, and in none of the 6 rounds, there was human interface. All AI, intelligence, and psychometric testing. And even the offer letter was generated by a robot. I said, don't be surprised the day you report, you'll actually log in and report to a robot. Welcome to the new world. And this new world, they call it augmented humanity. Really? What is augmented humanity? So here you go. You got some super smart people who advise. Oh, absolutely. The consulting giants, the bankers, the investment bankers, the IT whiz kids in the Silicon Valley. India itself produces a lot of people from IITs, geniuses, and they produce amazing machines that automate. Do you recall that picture where entire Amazon store in the USA did not have a single staff? All you had to do when you entered that store was wear a little band on your wrist. So anytime you picked up a soap or a powder or a cheese, there is a sensor which read, and by the time you're checking out, your account was already debited for the things you picked up. So when Jeff Bezos was interviewed recently, what do you call that? He laughed and he said, hey, you know what? I have a funny name for it. And somebody said, what? He said, it's called burglary without getting arrested, because there's nobody supervising you, just pick up, right? Interesting. And therefore you have very, very smart business and absolutely highly anticipated. Wait till the drones take over your personal lives. There's a lot of goodness. There's a lot of things to be concerned. So welcome to the augmented humanity, quote unquote, no pun intended, which leads me to this wonderful Pebble Beach, California, I guess, right? People are bathing on a sunny day, Californian beach. But, the so-called peace looking has one very, very interesting quote by one of the gurus of finance, Mr. Warren Buffett. He says, you get to know who has been swimming naked only when the tide goes down. Symbolic? When the things are great, there's a swagger in your walk and a twang in your talk. Great. Everybody is confident. Everybody is, the best hero in town, right? But when VUCA hits you, when subprime crisis hits you like it did in 2008, when Corona hits you, when business go for a toss, do you have it in you to survive? That's the message Warren Buffett is giving, all right? And you get exposed. So, but this VUCA, right, it can be dealt with. And we're going to talk about what that is. Before that, let me tell you, this wonderful picture from, not so wonderful, you must have seen it in National Geography and Animal Planet. Ladies and gentlemen, every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up. It knows it must run faster than the fastest lion or it will be killed. Every morning a lion wakes up. It knows it must outrun the slowest gazelle because last night's hunt went empty and it's hungry early morning, breakfast time, it doesn't have. So it must outrun the slowest gazelle or it will starve to death. Michael Jackson said, it don't matter you're black and white. Pramod Sadarjoshi says, It don't matter you're a lion or a gazelle. When the sun comes up, you better be running. Welcome to the world of entrepreneurship. Welcome to the world of current today, reset, redefined a business. Companies born, companies die. Out of 10 entrepreneurs, 6 to 7, sometimes 8, taste fatality. They die. Like thousands of people come to Bombay to become Amitabh Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan. Just 1 or 2 of them make it. That's exciting yet ruthless world of entrepreneurship. I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs here would agree with that. But you got to stick it, and we'll talk about what does it take to stick it in. Okay. This is a lot of people from Middle East, the wonderful building called Burj Khalifa. Look at how it was during construction. And today it's a swashbuckling building, all because of transformation. So ladies and gentlemen, you got to get up and run when the sun comes up only to transform, which takes me to the second part of what is all transformation all about. Let's go into that so that I leave you with some very specific tools. This session is not about me or Dr. Pramod Sadarjoshi. This is about you. Faisal has invited me to help you. So it's not about me. So I have to give you some takeaways. Otherwise, this value will not be so much high. So how on earth do you really transform your organization and self? You can't transform an organization, not transform yourself. Conversely, you can't transform yourself and not transform the organization. Let's see what does it take. Which brings me to my guru or professional guru rather. Marshall Goldsmith certified me as an executive coach, and he has written this fantastic book called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. I would suggest every one of you to please go to Amazon today and please buy a book if you haven't bought it. Please read it. It simply says what all you and I did till March 2020, our swagger in the walk and confidence all got shattered in March, April 2020 because a giant called Corona hit us. So whatever you did till then probably is not going to take you. It's like a graph which was going beautifully. Suddenly it went up 90 degrees. It didn't extrapolate, right? So therefore you got to be very clear to know what got you here won't get you there, which means what? Reset, reskill, rethink. In fact, Wayne Gretzky is one of the biggest ice hockey player. He says, a good guy, a good hockey player plays where the puck is. Puck is the little thing through which they score a goal. But a great hockey player plays where the goal is going to be. So do you even know what is it going to be in 2022? You know how business is going to change 2023? What are the financial models? What is the technology invasion? How digital is going to disrupt? Your CVs are no more what they are. Your technology is not what they are. And the rate of obsolescence is killing every day, is absolutely killing. What was great yesterday is dead today. Whether it's a video set or a TV set, LCD TVs are passé. You don't even get them. There are no more tape recorders, neither tapes nor record. It's dead. I'm giving you a very old example. Even Nintendo games and everything is changing. And therefore, my question to you and humble submission is up close and professional. Can we, you and I, re-architect an aircraft while flying it? Haha. Some of you think, Pramod, are you on drugs or are you drunk to say such a stupid thing? Not at all, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I indeed mean redesigning a Fokker friendship of 1944 World War into a swashbuckling Boeing 747 while flying it. And what I'm trying to say it is the new paradigm, welcome to the new paradigm, transforming while performing. None of us is going to get out here alive. None of us is going to get the time to transform without performing. None of us can perform without transforming. So welcome to the new world. And what is this new world? Which comes to me, the prescriptive part. I've done the tsunami, I've done the COVID, I've done the digital. I now go down to the real. What is holistic success? Well defined by this beautiful Venn diagram that I made. So let's crack the code, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it's going good. I hope I'm making sense. Unfortunately, we are not a live audience for me to get acknowledgement, but I presume please put a comment in the chat box if you think it's making sense so that Faisal can see it's making sense and we can go on. So, ladies and gentlemen, right out there, the red big bubble is things which are out of your control. Some call it act of God. In Latin phrase, it's called force majeure in legal language. The fires in Australia and in Turkey and in Greece, the storms, the floods, the earthquakes, the government policies, the geopolitical alignment, not in your control. You are indeed a recipient, but you can't do a damn bit about it. All right, just leave it. Do not sit in your drawing rooms or cups of coffee and do intellectual debates At no end, all you get is a satisfaction of your ego. Oh, you made a great point. You ain't coming out with a solution. Let's look at the left side. This is in your control, but external as in outside of you, which is markets, industry, potential domains, opportunity mining, new IPOs, new businesses, new geographies, electric scooter, for instance, is new geography, new business model. This is in your control, and we will talk about it first. But the core of this session about holistic success cannot be met with if I do not address the right part in the yellow bubble, which is in your control but internal, which is inner mastery, centeredness, calmness, coolness, tolerance to ambiguity, resilience, agility. None of this is bought at IIT-IIMs. Your grandfather, your parents taught you that, right? You learned it from your gurus and your teachers, indebted to your gurus and your teachers. I've written a thing there called bag. Bag is not a Chanel or a Louis Vuitton or a Fendi bag. No, 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 not at all. While these actresses boast about 82 lakh bag and 32 lakh bag, no. This BAG stands for beliefs, A for attitudes, and G for goals. So my question to you, ladies and gentlemen, what is the bag you're carrying in entrepreneurship or as a business executive? What are your beliefs, attitudes, and goals? If they're not clearly defined and centered with all the left brain centricity of a 90 percentile from the Ivy League or an IIT or an IIM, you ain't going to make it. All right. So we'll address the whole thing. Okay. So it's all about change. Okay. So let's see. In your control external, I'm going to deal with the left side of the bubble. The red bubble, we're leaving it out. So how do you begin with managing the change? Look at this. I'm sure a lot of you who are coaches. Soma, my friend, is a coach here. He deals with a lot of people, a lot of senior people. What are the questions? Hey, why are we doing this today? Will I still have a job next weekend? Will I be able to send my daughter to the US? What will the new rules be of a new venture? What is it in it for me here? They've just restructured, and the person who's reporting to me, I now report to him. Oh my God, destroys your ego. What will happen to my family? Will they need to shift? And there have been umpteen cases. I'm not going to bring them out here. People had to change schools, locations, and houses. What help will I get? To whom will I report? Will I report to my junior? How will I work with in future? I'm not good at IT skills. I don't understand artificial intelligence. But from a pan wala to groceries now going on to supply chain management and so on and so forth, and bots and what have you, right? Why are we doing this? So all these are causing stresses. Beautifully expressed by the lady with the two fingers on her forehead, right? On the bridge of her nose. Absolutely pandemic times that we are going through. So how do you react to this? Honestly, before March 20, we had great stability, all of us. Good job, good family, everything was going fine. In came March 20, and you got the shock of your life. People died, forget losing jobs. Doctors died. Doctors who are out there to survive, who make you survive. I mean, in some cases, families were wiped out. 5 people in a family within 4 days. Shock. From there, you go into denial. No, 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 not me. It's happening to my neighbor. Really? Until it hits you. And I'm not just talking about the disease. I'm talking about loss of revenues. Stock market crashed. It's called the Black Swan event. If you read the book Black Swan, complete crash. It went down to almost 2,500 something. Today we are at whatever, 54,000, the BSC. All right. You get angry. All your comfort levels have gone. Your driver is gone. Your maidservants are not there. You started doing vacuum cleaning and washing your vessels. I mean, you're a CEO of a company. You'd never entered a kitchen or the sink. Today, all of us did that. Then you start bargaining with life and with God. Hey, if I do this, will I be okay? That leads you to depression. Very few people come out of that. Today, if you see, the biggest problem is mental health all over the place, from CEOs to Bollywood stars to middle-level people to workers in a factory. Immense depression. Eventually, you adjust. How long is you're going to ask? Nobody knows. And I'm not going to read out those active resistances and passive resistance. I'm sure you made the notes and you can take the pictures. All right. Therefore, love this quote. Charles Darwin said, no, not the brightest. He says it's not the strongest or the most intelligent who'll survive, but it's those who'll best manage change. Are you up for change as an entrepreneur? You just started with a product, with a service, and suddenly it's no more required. What do you do? But conversely, a lot of innovative people made good bucks in the pandemic because they adjusted and invented and reinvented themselves. How do you do that? We're going to talk about it. That's holistic success, which is where I bring in the concept of design thinking. Design thinking is from the Stanford School. All right. Now, most of it is applied in the businesses. My question, humble question is, hey, why can't we apply this in our personal lives? What is it all about? For starters, design thinking actually starts with a right brain component called empathy. Do you even empathize with your customers? For starters, any business you are in, whether Domino or a Coke or DHL, if you do not empathize, how on earth are you going to even innovate? Having empathized, you need to then get down to brass tacks and define what is the end result you want. Including in leadership, a lot of managers are now sacked because they could not empathize with their fellow workers who are remote working. They had ladies who were pregnant and they could not empathize. They just demanded results and presentations and reports, right? Two biggest things have come about in the pandemic in leadership competencies, and that is empathy and compassion. If you don't have them, with due respects to all your brains of the left brain, you're not wanted, because the times have changed. You need to be a person with heart, a heart of gold, empathy, compassion, like a mother. You then need to ideate how you can rechange your life. And I was doing a seminar the other day for CEOs. One of the number one things in pandemic is, please set a routine. No, but our ego won't allow that because, oh, I'm used to doing it my way. But sorry, Corona and COVID decided you can't do it anymore that way. Just change or perish. And a lot of people did perish. Then develop a prototype and eventually test it. What goes behind design thinking process? How do we apply it, right? It's important to understand three phases of design thinking, which we can apply to design our lives also in a holistic way. Number one, inspiration. Look at that. The best of Tesla cars, the best of the Virgin Atlantic aircraft which went, it started with inspiration. Both Richard Branson and Virgin Atlantic, or I mean, Jeff Bezos, they got inspired. It's about understanding, observing, getting your point of view across. Develop that. Then you get into the ideation process. Brighter you are, more centered you are, more your heart is at rest, more you raised your power of consciousness, better will be your ideation. You will be bitten to death if you're not able to inspire yourself, ideate yourself, and some hope in help for your staff. I pity people who have got very poor leaders. And eventually, as they say, an idea belongs to those who implement it. So no point in being an armchair critic and a philosopher, ideate. It's called brooding worry. It's like a termite. It's going to kill you. That idea has to convert into a deliverable. Do you have it in you? That's what is holistic success. Not my arrogance sitting in a chair. Hey, I got the best idea. Those days are gone. Sitting in a cabin given by a corporation, and you had an army of 250 people whom you bossed over. You are now at the center of it. Okay, and therefore, look at this. There is a counter VUCA. What's that? How do you achieve this? Design your holistic success. Counter volatility with a vision, 1-to-1. If things are very uthal-puthal and extremely up and down, have a vision. Whether it's pertaining to your expenses, your lifestyle, your professional career, your CV, your resume, have a vision. People who have that vision, they do not get perturbed by the ups and downs. As long as the curve is going like this, don't worry about the temporary ups and downs. That's vision. Counter uncertainty with deep understanding. It's called data science. Deep analytical abilities. Do not get emotional about it. That's where you use the left brain. So left brain is very good when you want to decipher a complex product. You need amazingly sharp brain to grasp quickly and ideate. That's understanding. Complexity, how? Clarity. How on earth will you get clarity if you're not relaxed? So the best leaders, including the big ones who are in our the Tatas, the Narayan Murthis, the Premjis, and all of the big leaders, who have made a great thing, right? Very clear how to get that clarity. Very centered. You got to be literally meditative on your personality to get to that level of clarity and compassion with your own self. That's when you address complexity. If you're confused, if your mind is gone to wander and worried and brooding, some hope in hell, that you're going to get clarity. And lastly, it's most important. Whenever there is an ambiguous position, let me tell you, whether it's a snake which comes in front of you or a subprime crisis, the first reaction of a man is panic. It's called ants in the pants syndrome. The best way to deal with panic and ambiguity is agility. That's a time where you need to double your efforts physically too. Get up, get your yoga, get your exercises, get out there and be agile. That's your best insurance against ambiguity. Because the moment you get cowed down, agility can kill you. So there is a VUCA and there is a counter VUCA. You take your pick. Quick one. So how do you become future ready? Basically, create, challenge, and connect. Okay, it's a little complex. Won't go into too much detail because I want to respect. It's not my model. It's from josh.com. You can note it down but look at it. You build a temporary work teams, build trust. There is learning and there's diversity. And that's how you become where work is learning and learning is work. Some of the best companies retain employees not by high salaries or fancy houses or cars. They just give them perpetual learning opportunities so that your net worth is building up by the company. And don't bother if excuse me, if an employee leaves that company. It's all right. It's all going back to the society, right? And the most important thing is you do not want to be a flash in the pan success. Oh, this business cycle, you need 3, 4, 5 years of business cycle. So how do you make the change sustainable? You create a climate for change, and that's leadership. If you're not a leader, please make way. As I say, if you cannot face the heat of the kitchen, don't cook. Get out. Order Swiggy or Domino or Zomato. Don't cook. If you're in the leadership position, grab with both those hands and please note down all those points which are made there. Leadership. More said, little done. But real leaders are not leaders by designation. The leaders who lead by example, they're role models. They absorb everything, immense resilience, calmness, clarity, all out there. And eventually they actually persist on ensuring that. That's the way you build up. Those are those models. How do you make change sustainable? Most importantly, gentlemen, with technology becoming very fast every day, please, may I request all of you to become obsolescence proof. The day you become irrelevant, whether it's a panwala or a grocery store or milkman, you're dead meat. The industry and the environment is too ruthless to carry a passenger. And your best way is to reskill, upskill, learn, relearn, and continuously learn, because there is no end to customer service. There is no finishing line to knowledge, like in a 100-meter race. Therefore, it all comes down to having this wonderful combination of all these competencies. These are the competency gaps which got exposed in the pandemic. Are you inspirational? Do you exchange ideas? Are you of help? Do you assist people? Do you give support? Do you revel in others' success, and do you nudge people for success? Do you share? Amazing teamwork. These are not hollow words. And let me tell you, for those who want to become leaders in the next decade, these will be the qualities, because your left brain IIT is taken for granted. You were a 9-pointer from IIT. You're a 4.5 from an IIM. You're an Ivy League graduate. We know you're good at business metrics. But what's required is this fantastic combination of these soft skills, which brings me now. So now I've dealt with the blue bubble on the left side, right? Dealing with things in your control, but related to market. Now I shift to the most core part of holistic success, which is the right part. What is the use of this seminar which Faisal has given me if I don't leave you with a formula, if I don't give you my own analysis of a way forward? But this is not about me. This is about people who spend time on a Saturday evening to attend this. So let's go into the left right. Inner mastery, personal leadership bag. Okay. So I call it the heartfulness leadership, right? In fact, I actually want to talk about, I don't know whether I have the time. Hopefully, how do you get to heartful leadership if you do not practice heartfulness meditation? Mindfulness is a great tool for you to address the left bubble, this one here. But when you want to go centered, when you want to carry your bag of beliefs, attitude, and goals, you better know, as I said, my first slide, success belongs to those, the future belongs to those who know where they belong, right? So my provoking question, do you even know what's your why? Do you even know your purpose in life? Are you here born to work and pay bills of electricity, gas, and rentals? Or is there a higher purpose? At least on the right side of the picture, the bee collects fantastic nectar and produces great honey and something nice. What's your why? I would suggest please begin. Go take this weekend out tomorrow, Sunday, sit down, take a piece of paper and write your 5 whys. I think that's a great way to start addressing the problem of designing your destiny or designing your holistic success. Okay, what's it all about? Firstly, go out there. This is about in control, but internal, inward. Go inside yourself. Go deep down contemplation. When did you last sit down, or are you just a transaction going from one fire to another fire to another fire? Remember quadrant 1 of Stephen Covey's time management model? You are thriving on chaos. Is your life being driven by somebody else? Are you in a treadmill where the meters are with somebody else? So re-architect, renew yourself by going inside, design your destiny. And I'm actually provoking you in a positive way to say, announce your arrival, guys. This is your time. Say a yes. So what? My spiritual guru says, be cheerfully accepting, right? Cheerfully accept. Yeah, so you can't do anything with pandemic. The red bubble, act of God. So let's see what it is. So may I request you to first, now you say, Pramod, what is this? Yes, start by resetting yourself. Rewire your DNA, if you will. If you have anger management issues, no time for that now. You'll be kicked out. If you're short on ideation, start thinking creatively. If you get ants in the pants syndrome, be agile. So rewire your DNA. Okay. There are 4 parts to you. The real self, who really are today. So now I'm going to give you a model, which is diagnosis of your inner core. You want holistic success, right? With all the best Apple machine and Apple phone and Apple watch, if you're not sorted, as I say, your headspace is not sorted, some hope in hell that you're going to do anything. So how do you get there? First is the real self, who you really are. Second is the ideal self, who you want to be, your trajectory. It's called in business language as is position to a to be position. The third is brutal, ruthless, whether you like it or not. It is what others really think of you in a real terms. All right. And the last one is ideally other. So let me break this into a mapping model. All right. This has been conceived by me, not taken from any Google anywhere. I just went through my journey and put myself. Real self is when you stand in front of a mirror, as it is. You think you're 6 feet tall like Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. No, you're 5'4", 5'3". Accept it. One of the biggest ways to define and get holistic success is acceptance. Accept, assimilate, adapt, and achieve. 4 A's. So first thing is accepting what you are as it is, underlined, right? You can see all the last words have been underlined and italics, right? The second one is your dream, your utopia. You're from a 3-bedroom, you want to go to 4-bedroom. From a Corolla, you want to go to BMW. From an Indian company, you want to go to overseas. I'm just saying, right? Or you're overseas, you want to come back to India, right? And that's happening big way. The utopia, as it should be, according to you. The third one is what your boss thinks of you, what your spouse thinks of you, what your children think of you, what your colleagues think of you. It's called the feedback, which corporate professionals get in performance appraisal review exercises, and entrepreneurs get it brutally from the customers when the product gets rejected. When you're in a plane, well, you know the neighbors will give you feedback. When you're in a cinema, they'll give you feedback. When you're in a public space, you are getting constant feedback all the time. That's a real other. And most people, like ostrich, hide under the mud because they don't want to face it. But this is the brutal reality, especially if you're reporting to somebody. And the last one is a killer. You know what's an epitaph? Epitaph is a encryption on the tombstone when you die, right? So epitaph is as it is imposed, how the world wants you to be, right? Here lies so-and-so who was a wonderful man, who was very generous, blah, blah, blah. Here was a doctor who gave his life to save other lives. Is it that? Or is it written, here's a scoundrel who was selfish, who took people's money and never returned? I mean, I'm just being stupid here, but that's the way it is. So you know what's the problem in this chart? This guy and this guy are at conflict with each other. Your real self is your average in mathematics, but you want to be head of treasury and you want to do finance, whereas you have allergy for numbers. Ideal self is you want to be a banker, right? But real self is you do not have any discipline, but you want to be a musician or you want to be a cricketer. This guy and this guy are also at conflict. On a scale of 5 in an appraisal, you think you're 4 on 5. Your boss says you're lucky you still have a job, you're a 2.5. Oh my God. Do you want to kill that boss or tear your hair? Absolutely. That's reality, right? You think you're a great father or a mother, but your children tell you something else, and vice versa. You think you're a great colleague, but your 360-degree appraisal tells you you're sluggish, you're not trustworthy, or this, that, brutal reality. And the fourth one is, you know, when your dad wants you to be a doctor. Okay, this one, you want to be a musician, your dad wants to be a doctor, or other ways, right? You want to be a cricketer, your dad wants you to be an engineer or a financialist kid. Your real feedback is you're not going beyond manager level, but you want to become a CEO, and your parents want you to be the CEO. Guess what? It doesn't end here. Even these two are at conflict with each other. Your real self versus what the society imposes on you. You don't like the hard work of being a cricketer. No, 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 you must play an IPL. All right. How does it work? Or vice versa. And guess what? Even this and this is extremely, extremely humiliating. You want to be a CEO, your feedback and appraisal is very bad, including 360 degree. I do a lot of coaching all over the world, and the most coaching comes out from the centrifugal force of these four things hitting against each other. And the confluence of delta and the gaps, that comes about is what I call the mapping model. So take this Sunday off and map yourself, which will give you amazing way out for you to diagnose yourself. What's your inner world? Well, I've divided this circle into 4 parts. To the right side is positive emotions. To the left side is the negative emotions. The lower half is low activation. The upper half is high activation. And those are the behaviors, 4 plus 4, 8 behaviors that you are going through every minute, including now. Decide for yourself, are these emotional states, are they your drivers, that they drive you for a goal, or are they your derivatives, which means they come because you are in those states? I will not ask you to raise your hand, just leave you for contemplation and evaluate this over the weekend. With that, I want to present this. This is what you are. Why you need to be centered, why that right brain of heart needs to be addressed. We're all brilliant people, and we need to be brilliant. We need to be mindful. We need to be sharp at evaluating balance sheets and IPOs before investing. You want ROI, but you know what? Look at that. Is that your state? Some hope in hell. If you're that guy out there and if you're a leader of a company, what kind of decisions you'll take? Or if you're head of a family, what chances are you'll take the well-being of a family into consideration? It's hell breaking loose, it's mayhem, it's bloodbath. But you've got to come out of it because there's a purpose in your life. You got a why in your life. And that is what I call holistic success. Balancing between your entrepreneurial journey of work, career, business goals, IPO, valuation, fundraising, venture capitalists, private equity, versus fundamentally your health, especially in pandemic. What's the point? So many young people have died at 40, 45. No names here. And some very celebrities have also gone away. Why? Because, well, that's most important. As they say in Hindi, jaan hai to jahan hai, right? Or there's this famous saying, sorry if people can't understand this Hindi, हर दम हर पल किसी गैर की तलाश में रहता है आदमी, इस डर से कि कहीं खुद से मुलाकात ना हो जाए. When did you last meet yourself? When did you do a deep dive? And what is this balance in life to the right side? Social, material, emotional, spiritual, that whole thing. If you're saying, Pramod, this is too much of a menu card for me, then boy, get bitten to death, right? So there are 3 demons you carry all the time, especially when you go to work. Entrepreneurs on the call, raise your hands. Firstly, fear. The best of Ivy League MBA from Stanford, Harvard, Wharton, IIMs, IITs is paralyzed when you're absolutely arrested by fear. You get paralyzed. No action. You become benumbed, like suddenly you're faced with a cobra. It'll kill you. Doubt. Doubt is what spiritual masters say, if you want to poison your system, do not have to eat cyanide or phenyl. Just crowd your mind and a brain with a lot of doubts, you'll be a perfect recipe for an enhanced candidate. And that brooding worry, right? I believe worry is like dimak in Hindi or termites. It eats you inside hollow. Outside, you look very good. Look at these healthy people who die, the guys who go to gym, but something is eating them up inside. Flat chest, great flat tummy, good biceps, triceps, but they're gone. Similarly, people with great resumes, but they're not performing. Entrepreneurs, great idea, they start off and then they perish because worry is like dimak, like termite. They're going to eat you up and they're going to kill you. So how do you get rid of this? My belief is the heart of the human problem is a problem of the human heart. So yes, mind is important. Therefore, it leads me on to a very distinctly and unmistakable focus on heartfulness. If you're not going to be thinking about it, the same thing, right? The heart of the problem is a problem of the heart. In North India, they say jigra, heart. If you no courage, no heart, you're dead meat, with due respect to all your brains. So let's see, how do you get to that? Wonderful balance between mind, body, heart, and soul, right? And you know this model. So holistic wellness and holistic, I do not want to be having 100 crores and having diabetes, cancer, hypertension. What use it is? I mean, there are people who are very rich, but who can't eat even 1 ounce of sweet, and they own sweet shops. So come on, holistic success it is. You do not want to be, you're not a you're not running a sprint of 100 meters. Life is a marathon. You got to last out. There are dependencies on you, your family, your children, your parents, your relatives, your employees. If you're a CEO, they're looking up to you. So better get to do what needs to be done. I read this wonderful book called Heart of the Soul by Gary Zukov. Gary Zukov is a Harvard graduate, extremely successful business. He's written 3 books: The Body of the Soul, The Mind of the Soul, and The Heart of the Soul. He's also written a book called Spiritual Partnerships. And he says, heart is the seat of the soul. Therefore, when a person dies, what happens? The heart goes silent, or people say the soul left the body. Either people say soul left the body or the heart stopped beating. So the deep connection, and therefore, and this is the one guy we give the least time. We give all the time to the WhatsApp groups, the gymnasium members, the clubs, the parties, and everything, but we give very little time. That brings me to the engines of individual transformation for holistic success. Firstly, you got to have an extremely healthy and a relaxed body. Can you even begin to imagine you're conducting a board meeting as a chairman and you're not relaxed? And there are key strategic decisions to be taken as an entrepreneur, as a CEO. Some hope in hell you're going to take a sound, sustainable decision because you're not relaxed. From there, you got to regulate the mind. You recall that picture of the man with so many things coming out of all over the place, and you're heading a meeting, a strategy meeting, or you're gone. Let's say you're an SAP, you're an Oracle person, you're going to make a pitch to a potential client, and you're completely disturbed with the best technology you have. You can't do it. How do you manage emotions? Of late, I'm working with one concept with all my coaches. It's called emotional agility. You know what is emotional agility? Emotional agility is when everything is going around outside you, you still behave in alignment with your values. That's emotional agility. You do not compromise. You do not allow the external storm to disturb you. Extremely crucial to that emotional intelligence. And lastly, you've got to have empathy, compassion, be a kinder human being. Whether it is the Ratan Tatas and the Taj example or the Mother Teresa's, and so many good people, the Azim Premjis, the Narayana and all those big people, this is illustrative names, who have had this big heart, or Sudha Murthy, right? And many other philanthropists who have donated, do something for others. You need a great soul for that. You need a good heart. And that, therefore, your re-architecting, where I said re-architecting is all about physically very agile and very energized. So whether it's yoga or pranayama or whatever it is, important for holistic success. Or you want to go and just make those millions on stock market, do that. You see all the lalas sitting in the shops, diabetes, hypertension, big tummy, heart problems, but crores in the bank. They can't even enjoy that. Secondly, in today's age of data, if you're not mentally focused, some hope in hell, guys. So be sharp. How are you going to be sharp if you're physically very fit? Thirdly, If you're not emotionally connected to your project, to your entrepreneurship, to your product, to your service, to your job, forget it. No emotional connect, no Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, no Sachin Tendulkar, no Subbalakshmi, or no Virat Kohli, or no Gavaskar, whatever, right? You got to be in love with what you're doing. And Faisal and I were talking earlier. Listen, entrepreneurship, if you're not in love with what you're doing, don't do. You're better off as doing a mid-level executive, AVP, VP. Someday you'll retire, take your funds. Okay, not everybody can be entrepreneurs, right? The emotional connect in a passion sense. So somebody says, what's entrepreneurship? It's passion. The other word is passion. But lastly, if you're not spiritually centered, if you're not spiritually centered, which means you do not have that great value centered leadership, that great focus, all the other three will be nullified. Because why? I mean, I'm not going to take names. There are people who looted the country, have gone abroad. Would you respect them? Would you call them to your college to give a lecture today? Right? People who have frauded. They're physically very smart, they're mentally very sharp, emotionally very connected, but with the wrong purpose. But the decay in the spiritual values in terms of not causing harm, not taking others' money was not there. And therefore they're biting the dust. So I would really recommend you. I'm going to give you a website. You can read a lot, I can talk a lot, but you only know it when you feel it, right? Because it's all about transmission, it's about experiential, right? I would really recommend this because I have been a beneficiary of this. No matter how much I tell you the mango is sweet, the Alfonso is sweet, you go cut it and eat it. Don't go by what Pramod or Somas is saying. Just go out there, right? So let me tell you, how do I link all this meditation and heartfulness to organization, right? Because I'm addressing business professionals here. And I'm myself a business coach from the corporate world, 30 years with the companies that Faisal read out, right? So if you want to take current state of your organization to the future state, whether 30% growth, 40% turnover, or whatever, top line, bottom line, whatever, right? You got to have a culture to go along with it. Now, when does the culture change? Culture is about people, and peoples are individuals. So when you move an individual, look at the next step when I press the space bar. When an individual transforms, then he takes the entire organization and culture to the future state. So organization is about those 10 people in the board, 20 people, the N-1, or the A team of CEOs, N-1, N-2. The top 30 people run any company, good or bad, depends on how the results are and ethically they're right or wrong, right? And therefore, when an individual moves is when the culture moves and therefore the organization moves. So in this connection, let me leave you with 6 C's of heartful leadership, right? If you want to be an entrepreneur, successful, and a holistic success, number 1, immense courage. Courage is heart, not superior analytical brain. Courage is about, in fact, analytical brain will get paralyzed if there is no courage. And I've given the definitions. Immense passion and connection. Immense and very authentic. And may I request all of you, please, with all this FOMO going about, fear of missing out, do not trade your authenticity for approval. Do not wait for others' approval. My favorite philosophy in life, I do not trade authenticity for approval. It's okay if somebody doesn't know you don't belong. Be authentic. Only then it lead you to leadership. Fraud will not lead to leadership. Even if it does, short-term fly-by-night operators. Character, extremely important. Consistent demonstration of values. The other 3. Calm composure, because pandemic or no pandemic, a CEO and an entrepreneur gets bad news every day from the family, from employees' families, deaths, admissions, no oxygen, whatever, or a fraud, or if you have an appropriate emotional response, I think you're good. Today's 6th, 7th level of leadership, especially in post-pandemic, is care, and authentically so, not lip sympathy. Show that. Show your empathy and compassion. Let it be demonstrated. And last, of course, no substitute for the good old-fashioned competencies, both hard skills and soft skills. Go to the best college, go to Udemy, go to wherever, and just pick them up and just equip yourself, because today is the age of learning, relearning, upskilling. Okay, so let me sum it up. You start with unconscious incompetence. You don't even know you're not good. Then when you see your colleagues proceeding forward, you go to the next level of conscious incompetence. The competition, the market, the pandemic makes you conscious that, dude, you're incompetent, you're not able to adjust. That's when you go to training schools, you go to gurus, you go to coaches, you go to parents, you go to your bosses and learn. And then you become conscious of your competence because you've learned a new skill, like a driving or a swimming. And over the years of practice and practice and practice, you become unconscious of your competence. Like today, you drive a car without any looking at where the gear is because you've mastered it. Re-architecting yourself, if you want to become a great leader, is really all about the leader in you coming out and addressing, going and doing the journey from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence. Welcome to the big league. This is not for the faint-hearted. These are people who are really invigorated, inspired to make a difference. Okay, all right. I think there is a disconnection here, but I'm almost to the end. Let me see whether I can share it again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is it back yet? Yes, it is back. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm down to my last 2-3 minutes. So let me just, it's not moving. So please, I would suggest, I've been benefited. So when a good thing is going, I would really urge you. It's a science, it's a discipline, it's an amazing methodology. I mean, I was hearing PV Sindhu recently, our winner. Apparently, she's one of the things which made her, being in fourth position is very bad. And therefore, her coach told her, look, you missed the silver, but do you want to miss the bronze also? And she had a very turbulent night that night. And she's now given an interview, she's saying, the only thing which made her saying, no, go and get that bronze, was heartbroken, was the meditation. She did the heartfulness meditation. She got the courage with the coach's help, with the guru's help. She said, let me get, because bronze is better than no medal. Bronze medal is better than no medal. Similarly, a whole lot of, I believe, Rohit Sharma, our batsman, he also practices. I'm not dropping names to impress, but immense people have benefited. Go and get all the gyan from that website. All right. So simply put, it's about relaxing your body, calm. 1 second. So relaxing, settled and relaxed. It's about absolute mind-based, meditation, stillness, focus, productivity. It's about rejuvenation, emotionally, rich, cheerful acceptance, on the go, come what may. And finally, connect with your inner self, connect with your higher purpose, connect with your higher self through trust, empathy, harmony. Most important competencies for any leader in the world, especially post-pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, right? So with that, I come to my last 2 slides. My humble submission to all the entrepreneurs here is to have a holistic success. If you want your organization to be on cloud, pun intended, which is high tech, because everybody's on cloud technology, please ensure that yourself and your employees are on cloud 9, which is high touch. Please marry high tech with high touch. Please marry the robotic hand with the human hand. Do not dehumanize organizations. Last year, I was giving a keynote address at the Thai conference in Ahmedabad 2 years back, right? I got a rousing, thunderous standing applause for this slide because they said, do not make entrepreneurship at the cost. Do not build high valuation at the cost of values. And definitely do not compromise on human values because they're very, very important. So my last 5 tips to you. Please practice 5 C's and 1 H. Number 1, do whatever it takes to get extreme clarity in your mind. Don't get confused. If it means yoga, if it means swimming, if it means meditation, if it means going to a therapy session, if it means going to a coach or a counselor, go get clarity. Nobody wants a confused leader or a confused parent. Number 2, what do you do with the clarity? Create what? Product, service, value, relationship. Create an impact, leave a legacy. Extremely critical. But there'll be a lot of obstructions, a lot of enemies, a lot of jealous people who will pull you down. That's the time you need to pull your inner courage. You need to come right back into the game. There'll be competitors who will pull you down. You need to say, no, I got the courage. And it cannot be bought in Shoppers Stop or in Nordstrom or anywhere. Courage has to come from within, and you got to do it inwardly. And unfortunately, like in a railway station or an airport, You give your luggage to a porter and he carries it for you, pay him tip. This you cannot give it to somebody else. You can listen to TED Talks, spiritual gurus, spiritual discourses, your parents, but it's got to be nurtured and do it. What do you do after you clear, create, and with courage? In today's world, you connect. Please note down one-liner, which I'm going to utter now. Your network is a net worth. I repeat, your network is a net worth. What you do alone, even in heaven, you need people around. So having amazing, not social distancing, but really social connect, and authentically, not to belong to for some material gains. And lastly, what the heck if you had all the four, but if you didn't have compassion, if you didn't do something back for the society, for the people, at least to your immediate context, you just lived another materialistic, boring, transactional life, and one day you passed away. And all this on the edifice of heartfulness, because Gary Zukov said, heart is the seat of the soul. So, ladies and gentlemen, my question to you, are we ready? If yes, then my last question. One day or day one? Very provocative, that one. One day, okay, today we heard, today is Saturday, August 14th. Someday we'll do, or will you day one, which is tomorrow?
Today.
And the answer is, you decide, and that answer is today. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I end my formal presentation as committed within the 40-50 minutes. My name is Dr. Pramod Sadarjoshi. I'm currently managing partner at Cornerstone. I also run my own outfit called talentsmith.co, right? www.talentsmith.co. Those are my two email addresses. Please feel free to write to me. That's my Twitter account, and that's my LinkedIn profile. You can take a snap of it. Please connect with me. It'll be wonderful to collaborate. I coach entrepreneurs all over the world, and I leverage my immense learning, and I'm very humbly thankful to Citibanks and the Microsofts and every company and a lot of key leaders and bosses whom I've learned. It's time to now put it all together, condense it, and give back. A lot of youngsters who are sort of nurturing up. So it's now I'm in that phase, both at Cornerstone and here, to build an amazing organizational effectiveness, change management. So Faisal is asking me, Pramod, one line about you. So here's my one line about me. Passionate about augmenting people and organizational capabilities through transformational leadership. Quite a mouthful, huh? I'll repeat. I'm very passionate about augmenting your and your organization's capabilities through transformational leadership on the edifice of science, left brain, and huge right brain, which is heart and soul. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a fantastic journey in your life as well as in your career, in your entrepreneurial journey. With that, I'm done with my formal presentation, but I would like to leave the floor open for all the questions. Faisal, over to you, sir. Thank you so very much again for a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much. What an impactful, powerful conversation. I think
I want to give one remark.
Yeah, pardon?
I want to give one remark on his presentation.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much.
What I want to say, what you've talked about 5 C's, 5 core, this one, clarity, creation, courage, connect, and compassion. These are the 5 elements, the core of the spirituality I will be. And you very beautifully brought that let this spirituality be within your heart, give a room in your heart, and from there you dictate your work.
Yes, sir.
Success is
yes, sir.
I think this was a great message which are given, that you cannot leave this side, other side. Everything need to be healthy, and that health comes through the spirituality, and that clarity is one health, creation is another health, courage is another health, and connectivity is another health, compassion. These are all divine powers, and these divine powers you can be successful in any walk of the life.
Thank you, sir. In fact, that is my design framework for holistic success.
And that's why you say heartfulness.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Heart has to be full with this rather than something else take place there.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bhatia sir, for contributing to that conversations. And ladies and gentlemen, for every successful business, they all agree one thing. They have some secret they keep themselves to become successful. And what we heard today, last 1 hour, what is phenomenal conversation, because he's talked from his heart and from his long career experience about how he became successful, and what the message was phenomenal, just because of he's someone who practiced, and you can see his profile. It is phenomenally wonderful because of the career journey he has been really worked with a lot of multinational companies, and that's not the screen. Yeah. So that makes us special, right? So thank you so much, Dr. Pramod. And
Thank you.
Each and every slide was really, really, intentional. Like the one we started with, the 60-minute, what's happening in 2020. What kind of a internet explosion is happening around. Facebook, 1.3 million or 2 million clicks and shares, and YouTube and Instagram, and Talks and Netflix, and it was really, really, really thought-provoking as well. And also what really made me to think about, as an entrepreneur, what data is going to play a big role in this millennials, and that's going to be the new oxygen. And when he spoke about the cognitive intelligence, creative intelligence, and an entrepreneur become successful when you use these two different kind of intelligence in a optimistic way and in a balanced way. And when he spoke about the story of a lion and gazelle, and that's what entrepreneurs is all about. When you wake up in the morning, and when you think that it's not a great day to go out there and make a difference for your employees, and it's not a great day to go and make a sale today, and I think that's done. You're not an entrepreneur anymore.
Absolutely.
Because some days it's very tough and challenging for an entrepreneur, especially during COVID. There are a lot of people challenged with the questions they ask themselves. Oh, it's not a great day to do a sales today. And what a phenomenal way he brought to this conversation and telling the story of a gazelle and the lion wake up in the morning and start run. It was so beautiful. And what I got presented, when he said about what got you here won't get you there. Yeah, it was a great quote from Marshall Goldsmith, and that's what absolutely so solid in 2021 because of the COVID. Whatever you acquired and whatever you acquired from your long career is not going to make any difference in the future. That's reasons.
Oh, absolutely.
Big companies has been closed down, and there are billion-dollar companies has been generated during this COVID time. So that means you need to be innovative. You need to really go out there and figure it out. What I can do to make a difference in this new normal world.
Absolutely.
And when you said about the cracking code, oh, what a great conversation about in your control, what is not in your control, and internal and external, inner mastery and personal leadership. That was phenomenal. And what I got frustrated when he was speaking about, it was not about great HR or great financial background, or it was about holistic success and having a great balance in the great balance in the different areas of life. For an entrepreneur to become a successful entrepreneur, you check out your physique, you check out your professional, you check your your mental strength, your spiritual strength, emotional strength, and social strength. That was, for me, it's an eye opener. I mean, I think not many people talk about this. I mean, that's what even Brainciti talked a lot of our conversations, and I was really blown away with that concept. Because if you want to become a successful entrepreneur, you go out there and make sure your family is working well, your health is really working well, your relationship is working well, your professional communication is really working well, and your social balance is really taken care. Really phenomenal. And the last but one, and when you talk about the inner VUCA, the fear and doubt and worry, that will demolish you. Yeah. And the other one was engines of individual transformation, and and the beautiful examples of Sindhu, the woman who represented our country and made us proud in Olympics. And what matters is heartfulness, creating that kind of a relationship with yourself. How do you really manage yourself in that tough time? And that's what we needed in this challenging COVID time. Like, you need to be so strong to manage the current situation, bringing more clarity and bringing courage, creating wonderful connect. And at the end, he ended with the conversation saying that, hey, be compassionate, be ready to serve the world, be really out there to make a difference in people's life. Then you can make it. Entrepreneurs, people who want to become successful entrepreneurs, people who want to start your own company, it's a eye-opener conversation. And Dr. Pramod, you're phenomenal tonight. And I'm so honored to host you today. And I'm really looking forward. That's going to make a lot of difference in a lot of people's life. And the people who are watching YouTube, please do watch again, and people who are present today, go out there and watch the YouTube link again, because this conversation was very intentional and it's totally for you. And thank you, Nidhi, for bringing Dr. Pramod to this conversation. And thank you, Sudeepa and Yash, to start this conversation. And thank you, Prashanti, for coordinating this whole evening very, very wonderfully.
Absolutely.
And thank you all the members for joining. So now it's time. So I would request, we usually end the session exactly at 7 in Dubai time, and your time 8:30 in India. So officially, I would say the session is declared, it's closed. But at the same time, if Dr. Pramod is available for another 15 minutes, we can have an interaction with the people and ask a couple of people questions. Yeah?
Yes, please.
So speaker is great. So whoever wants to stay here and ask questions to Dr. Pramod, you're happy to do so. And at the end, I will also ask Dr. Soma Sajivan sir and Roy Taragan sir if he's available to share a few words. Before that, I would like ask somebody who want to go ahead and ask a question. You can raise the hand electronically, then I can unmute you to ask a question about entrepreneurship. How do you face the entrepreneurship successfully and become a successful entrepreneur? Or when you are facing challenges, how do you manage yourself? Or you are in a stage of startup, but how do I go to the next level? You're in a stages of starting your own business. How do I start my own business? Whatever the question you have right now. So either you can put in the chat box, or you can, or you can just raise the hand. Anybody want to ask any questions? Pravina, you are there. Would you like to share a few words? You're there. I'm sending you a prompt to unmute yourself. So Soma sir requested a call Pravina to share a few words. So I don't want to neglect Soma sir's request. All right, I put a question already. Okay, let me read out the questions. So Taga sir, I will unmute you. No, it's fine. I know you. You are somebody who really stand out and magic in conversation. Go ahead, Taga sir. Ask.
Sir, better you ask the question I have given in the chat box. That will be better.
There is a lot of message in the chat box. So let me figure it out. Yeah, where is your question? Didi, can you spot out? You can repost so I can read it out. All right. Okay, so I'll go for YouTube.